Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Ever wonder what happens when a company takes out a loan and then needs to tweak the terms? It's like agreeing to split a pizza, then arguing over who gets the biggest slice of pepperoni later. Today we're diving into Goldman Sachs Private Credit Corp's latest filing, where they're doing just that with a loan agreement. Think of it as corporate level, terms and conditions apply. Before we get started, if you enjoy getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. Goldman Sachs Private Credit Corp, or the company, has a subsidiary called GSCR Mott Street SPV LLC. GSCR Mott Street entered into something called the Second Amendment to their loan and servicing agreement. Think of this as updating the agreement they already had. The original agreement, which they call the MS Revolving Credit Facility, is with Morgan Stanley Senior Funding Inc., a few other parties. In simple terms, this is an update to a loan agreement they made back in August of 2024. This Second Amendment or update changes a few important things. We'll walk through what these things are in simple terms. Don't worry, we'll keep it interesting. First, they've extended the revolving period. The revolving period is when they can borrow money. They've pushed this back a year from August 2027 to August 2027 to August 2028. So it's like having another year to spend the money you've been loaned. This part basically says they have more time to borrow money if they need it. They also extended the maturity date, which is when the loan needs to be paid in full. That's been moved a year from August 2029 to August 2030. So basically, they've bought themselves more time to return the money they borrowed. This gives them more flexibility to manage their finances. Next, they've extended the ramp-up period by 3 months, from 9 months after the closing date to 12 months after the closing date. The ramp-up period is like the warm-up phase. It's the time when they get everything in place to spend the money and figure out how it all works best. So they're giving themselves a little more time to get going. Think of it like having the training wheels on for a bit longer as you learn to ride your bike. They've also changed the minimum utilization schedule. This refers to how much of the loan they actually have to use. The schedule is broken down into amounts used over certain periods. From the Second Amendment date to 12 months later, they need to use 50%. And after that, they need to use 50%. And after that, they need to use 50%. And after that, they need to use 70%. And after that, they need to use 50%. And after that, they need to use 70%. It's like they're saying they need to get more serious about spending this money the longer they have it. There are also some revisions or changes to the conditions to determine if something qualifies as a PIK asset. PK basically means payment in kind, which is a type of bond where interest is paid using more bonds instead of cash. They've adjusted certain rules or limitations for these types of assets, so they're fine-tuning what kind of investments are okay under this agreement. Finally, they've added Swiss francs and Norwegian krone as eligible currencies. This is saying they're expanding the currencies they can use when borrowing or lending money. Now, they can deal in these different forms of money now too. The document says that this description is only a summary, which means there's more to the amendment than what was just described. If you want to have a look for yourself, you can review Exhibit 10.1 to this current report on Form 8K, and you can read all the details for yourself. All of this information is essentially saying the company is bound by some conditions which they need to take seriously or else face the consequences. A financial obligation is essentially promising to pay something. It's like an IOU, but on a much larger scale. Companies take these obligations seriously because their reputation and ability to borrow in the future depend on meeting these obligations. Now, let's take a step back and consider what all of this means. The key takeaway here is that Goldman Sachs Private Credit Corp is not just passively managing its debt, they're actively making alterations to their agreements, extending or adjusting timelines, usage minimums, currencies. So what are my thoughts here? Well, for starters, it's always a good sign when a company can renegotiate its loan terms. In this case, getting another year to borrow money and pushing the repayment date back a year shows that lenders have confidence in the company. That also means that Goldman Sachs Private Credit Corp can be reasonably optimistic about its future. However, the minimum utilization schedule means that they're committing to using more of this money over time. That puts pressure on them to find good investments. So in conclusion, this activity is a reflection of the company's effort to optimize its financial operations. While there aren't necessarily any red flags here, it is still worth keeping an eye on as the company continues to evolve its strategies. Alright, that's our breakdown of this 8K filing. What do you think about these changes and what they say about Goldman Sachs Private Credit Corporation's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was helpful, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. Don't forget to check out our Discord channel in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.